Same lifter was asking a question about transitioning from lat pull downs to chins, and basically his question was he can't do a lot of chins right now, so he's using a lat pull down machine to kind of get in that pulling volume work. And how do you train the lat pull down, and how do you progress from the lat pull down to chins and that sort of thing to eventually get off the lat pull machine and actually be able to do chin ups or pull ups? So my first answer to that is, if you can do any pull-ups at all, or any chin-ups, chins, pull-ups, whatever, if you can do any chins at all, you need to do them, okay? So even if you can do one, then you need to start training your chin-ups, okay? Usually the hardest one to get is the first one, okay? Once you can do one, you can start training it, okay? And then you might add in lat pull-downs to that, but you need to train your chins frequently and not ignore them and just do lat pull-downs or rows or something like that if you have the capacity to do any chin-ups at all. So what I would say is, I think in his post he said he could do about 2 or 3 chin-ups. So what I would do is every time you have your chin-up workout, you set a rep goal, all right? And so this would be, you might start with a low number, just like maybe 10, okay? If you're really, really struggling, maybe that's just 5 or 6 or 8 or something like that, but we'll just say 10. And so every time you do chin-ups, you're going to say, all right, I'm going to do 10 chin-ups and as many sets as it takes me to get there, all right? And so the first time you might do a set of 3 and then a set of 2 and then 5 singles, all right, with maybe a minute or 2 of rest in between each one, and that's 10, okay? So you got your 10 chin-ups, and then directly after that, move directly to the lat pull-down machine, and then you're going to get your volume, and then you'll do your anywhere from usually 3 to 5 sets of about 8 to 10 reps is a good idea, and do your pull-downs there and get your volume in there, so you're doing a combination of both. Pull-downs are helpful to improve your chin-up numbers, but they're more effective in combination with chins than just as a standalone. It's hard to get somebody off of the lat pull machine 2 chins, all right? And then what you do is, over time, my general rule is, once you can reach your rep total in 3 sets or less, then you bump up your target number. So let's say in a couple weeks the lifter comes in, he does his chin workout, and he does a set of 4, a set of 3, and a set of 3. Okay, so he reached 10 in 3 sets or less. The next time, bump up that volume a little bit. Okay, so now maybe try for 12 or 15 or something like that. And then when you can hit that number in 3 sets or less, you bump it up again and maybe another 5. So maybe in a couple months you're doing 20 at each workout. And then you can still do the lat pull downs as back off. And then eventually you'll get to a point where you can do enough chin-ups where you don't need the lat pull down machine anymore, and you can just get all your volume with chinning. So that's my recommendation on that, is do the chins if you can. If you can't do any chins at all, the lat pull down will help. I have actually found that the best solution for a guy that can't do chin-ups is manually assisted chin-ups, all right? Rather than, I haven't had as good a luck getting people, like with bands and things like that, getting them from bands to being able to do regular chin-ups. That tends to not work as well. I like a manually assisted chin-up. You obviously need a decent training partner or a coach to help you do this, but I have somebody get up on the bar, and I'll have them cross their feet at their ankles, and I'll support their toes in my hands. And what I have them do is, the reason I like the manual chin-ups, it's not exactly easy to quantify, exactly how much effort the lifter's putting in and how much you're doing it, but it still works. And so what I have them do is, I kind of go by feel. I have them start to pull themselves up over the bar, and where I feel that they don't need any assistance, I offer very little assistance. So, and then when they get stuck, which is oftentimes in the middle of the rep, then I push up a little bit, and then once I feel them kind of break free, is what I call it, you'll kind of feel them, then I'll let off again and let them finish the rep. So in other words, with the manual assistance, you're letting them do as much of the repetition as they can on their own, and you're only kind of helping them get through those sticking points of each rep, okay? And I've had far better luck with that than I have with using bands or negatives or things like that you often hear about for chins. So I like manually assisted chin-ups. I like a high volume on the lat pull machine. And then the other big thing that I would say don't forget about is train your biceps, okay? Do barbell curls or dumbbell curls, but barbell curls probably better. Don't forget about biceps and forearms as an element of chinning strength. So you can do that after you do your chins and your pull downs, or you can do it on a different day. It doesn't really matter as long as you're getting it in there. But don't forget, to train the biceps. And as you can increase, say, your barbell curling strength, say you start with 75 pounds for a set of 8, And then, over the course of several weeks or whatever, you push that up to where you can do 95 pounds or 105 pounds or whatever for, sets of 8, then that's going to contribute to your pulling strength. So that will help as well. So don't neglect that. So that is my answer for a guy that is struggling with his chin-up strength. As far as frequency on that, you hear a lot of this stuff about, chins being trained every day. Only if you can do very sub-maximal chins, I find that does that work. Otherwise, it's just too much, and I've seen guys regress trying to do that. They get a little bit too fatigued. I like twice a week. I've always had good success with that, with getting a guy to do a hard session of chins, a high volume, hard session of some combination of chins, lat pull downs, and bicep work twice a week. I think that's optimal. More than that, you're going to have to cut back on the intensity and the volume that you use at every session, and I'd rather you have you do a little more at each session, a little bit less frequency, rather than trying to do it 3, 4, 5 days a week.